So, how do you brush your teeth? Do you put the toothpaste on first, wet it, and then brush your teeth? Or do you get it wet first, then put your toothpaste on, and then you go ahead and brush your teeth? We all have different habits when it comes to brushing our teeth, or, well, at least I hope we do. However, for most of us, this is just a habit. It's normal. We do it passively. We don't even think half the time while we brush our teeth. And today we're going to discuss a simple device that we use every day, that being the toothbrush. Now, the toothbrush is a device that can vary in price from $1 to $300, all depending on the kind. But what began as a twig with suede edges is now sold in your grocery stores and found all over in many different shapes and sizes, and even colors. It's a common item that we use every day, but we take it for granted. So, when did we start using the toothbrush? What are common items we take for, and it's a common item we do take for granted? Who was the first to use it? Why? Why did we need it? So these are just a couple of the questions that we're going to answer today. So let's take a look at the beginnings and the progression of the toothbrush. We'll take a look at the first toothbrushes, how they changed throughout the time, and we'll take a look at the modern toothbrush. So let's start. So first of all, the toothbrush. What were the first toothbrushes? From an article on the History Channel, it dates back to 5000 BC. The Egyptians started using powder from either animal hooves or eggshells, and they would rub this on their teeth. And it was kind of the start of the idea of cleaning their teeth with something. They needed to clean their teeth. However, the Chinese, they were next. They fastened animal hair to ivory sticks or bamboo, and that is the way the Chinese used to brush their teeth. And so they are typically the ones to get most of the credit for kind of starting and using the first toothbrush. According to the New York Times Magazine, though, however, here in Europe, William Addis created the first toothbrush. At this time in his life, William was in prison, and he noticed one of the guards sweeping the floor with the bristles of a broom, and it was like a light bulb moment in his head that you could do the same thing with your teeth, and you could brush them with brittles. So here, William, for the Europeans, he gets a lot of the credit for coming up with one of the first toothbrushes with brittles. From another article, The Evolution of the Toothbrush, by 1498, boar hair was used instead of other types of animal hair because it seemed to be better on people's gums compared to other animals' hairs. And also, really weird fact, but snuff, which is pretty much like chewing powder, gunpowder, was actually used as it was used as toothpaste during this time, according to an academic article named Natural Toothbrushes. So, second, let's take a look at how the toothbrush has changed. So we still have a stick, we still have our ends, our frayed end or animal hair. But in a guide to a bone toothbrush of the early 19th and 20th century, it states that toothbrushes were made from bone at one point, but eventually they were synthetic. So what started as ivory or bone, yes, it did eventually become synthetic when it was being mass made and when plastic started to be used more. Back to our article, or an article called The Evolution of the Toothbrush, the changes of a brittle from a toothbrush from animal hair to some sort of bristle was by the 17th century. And in that exact same article, it talks about by 1840 that toothbrushes were being mass produced and sold. So you could actually buy them and get them. Last of all, let's talk about the modern toothbrush. I hope we all have one in our cupboards or in our bathrooms, and hopefully we all use it on a regular basis. But referring again back to the evolution of the toothbrush article found online, nylon was finally used for the brushes on the brittle of the brush instead of animal hair by 1938. So that's the official date. And this was much better for the gums of people than anything else that had been found yet and worked effectively. In another academic article by Taylor and Francis, not until 1800s were toothbrushes cheap enough to even use. So yes, we had these ideas back ago, but this was not a media advertised idea and didn't start becoming very popular until that 1800 time. And finally, by the 1960s, the world was introduced to what's well known as the electric toothbrush, which most of us, I'm sure, are fairly familiar with. What a wonderful toothbrush, as many of us know, for people especially with arthritic hands or upper extremity issues. It's a wonderful device that can help people brush their teeth effectively. even as you're getting older or just any health issues, or if you just prefer that method. But just wow, what growth from a twig to an electric toothbrush over those thousands of years. So today, to sum it all up, we looked at the early beginnings and progressions of the toothbrush. We learned about the first toothbrush, the toothbrush changes, and about the modern toothbrush today. And so for that, we will have a little look here at a picture. Here's our toothbrush, what started as a twig, now being an electric toothbrush. The toothbrush has not had huge drastic changes throughout the years. The basic handle and brush material has changed in the years, but the overall layout that started years ago has not changed, right? We see the same thing, but different materials used. So next time you are brushing your teeth, maybe stop and think about the amazing history of the toothbrush.